Okay, hey, welcome back to PJ's Son Podcast. Just chilling out in the basement with the wife. Hi, Alicia.
Hello.
You guys remember her from our road tripping episode that apparently I talked to some of the guys and they said that was fun. It was like, just a family in a vehicle going to vacation, just talking shit.
Yeah.
So apparently that was good. So good job.
Okay.
You got 5,000 followers now.
Woo.
Do you like the new equipment? Was it worth it? All my pain in the ass about getting new equipment. It's much better than the phone, you got to admit.
I mean, I don't really care about all that. It's just you're down here a lot and out of my hair. So, yeah, I love it.
So you would have paid double what the original price was. Nice. Oh, good. See, things are going great around the master's house. The kids are gone this weekend. They are with their mother, so it is just Alicia and I, and Echo, of course, is down here. Everybody knows Echo, but when Mommy's around, he just lays underneath her chair and doesn't bark or do anything, so you probably won't hear much out of him, which will be a first for PJ's Son's podcast because he always likes to interrupt. So we figured we just watched a show I was telling you guys about. Oh, hold on. Remind me to go back to what we just did a minute ago. We're not going to go far into detail because of my guest coming up. I need to talk to you guys and apologize a little bit. When I did the Masters Boys episode, okay, I'm sorry. When I went back and did the next one, the country boy city something, I thought that the Masters Boy episode was like the day before when I went to the museum with all those people. Alicia, I completely almost repeated myself on another podcast. And I feel like such an idiot.
Wow, shocker.
Shut up, dude. I was doing kind of a post show, I did the pre-show on that Friday where I went and met the guys and we went through the whole thing. And then after the actual concert, came down and thought, I just didn't remember that I had told that story. I thought it was like, tomorrow I'll be going to meet up with these guys and I don't really know what to expect, but I'm really looking forward to it, which I was. But it happened to, I totally fucked up. So my bad for making everybody listen to that again. But there were different angles about it, so I'm sure it wasn't exactly the same,
I mean, I'm just going to say this.
Don't.
The people that listen to you, they're going to have to get used to hearing you repeat yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
and forget.
It's just part of who you are, babe.
And then I was talking about how I started watching Steve Ranella and hunting videos because it's hunting time, and then completely just blanked. Luckily, Cash came downstairs, and so he and I started rapping on here, which it was really fun to do with him. But guys, the point of that whole charade was just about getting back outside and doing stuff like that. I was going nowhere with it as per usual. When I start talking, who knows where it's going to go, but I totally just forget stuff, and it's a real bummer. But so my bad for making you guys sit through that again. I hope maybe I said something different at least, because there's no way I repeated myself verbatim because I do not have the mental capacity to do that. But my bad, dude. Hang in there with me and it'll happen more, and then we can just laugh at me about it. It's cool. What did you, since we haven't talked to you in a while, what did you think about that, the concert itself, like the show and the whole thing?
It was really touching. I mean, it was an emotional night. I mean, just listening to, I think almost every veteran, well, the whole museum's motto is every veteran has a story, right?
Right.
And they do, whether they saw combat or not. Everybody, it seemed like that they interviewed had kind of some heavy stuff happen, and the police officer who was shot and paralyzed, and it was very emotional.
Domestic violence too,
yeah. Yeah. But I personally, I thought it was pretty neat. Like, for his song had more of a spiritual message to it, and there was a few people who had spiritual messages in their songs and their stories, and I always think that's pretty neat. But I thought it was awesome. It was really well put together, and the singer songwriters were very talented, and I think for the veterans, even like some of the older ones, I thought it was really cool for them to get to share their story while they're still here and
Yeah,
have their loved ones, hear a song written about them and stuff. I thought that was really
for sure.
really cool.
And I probably said this already too, but as a matter of fact, I don't know if I did because I think I wanted to, but I went off on some other tirade somewhere. But like the few people that talked to me afterwards about the addiction stuff when
Yeah.
they got home too. You know, that one couple we were talking to, he
Yeah.
said his last drink was in like 1993, and
Wow.
his wife was like, you know, it is tough, but generally when you guys can get through all that stuff, you know, you're all right, guys, or
Yeah.
however she worded it. But it was pretty cool to know that, like, because I think the idea we all had was let's tell this story about the war, and it's like that's one thing, and I totally agree with that and understand it, and it makes total sense to me, of course. But again, man, my shit started when I got home, so I don't know why. And I said this on the last one, I know the last podcast for sure. I don't know why I always jump to that thing, but it's like my identity for so long, and still in a big way, is the Marine Corps. And then like that second chapter was the addiction and all that shit that went
Mhm.
with it. You don't know
Mhm.
anything about that because you didn't have to
Mm-mm.
you didn't have to you didn't have to live through it like I did. But so I don't know why I jumped on that one right away. But those dudes, they just seemed to like we picked up. It was just like a natural
Yeah.
thing real quick. So
Well, and two, like that's something that the kids know. I mean, that there was things going on that weren't really. I mean, I think kids are in a situation and they don't realize, especially their own parents. And I'm not talking about just our kids, any
right.
kids that are in maybe unhealthy situations or where there's some struggles and they don't realize it because that's their normal. But I think they kind of started figuring some things out maybe, and we've really shielded the kids from knowing a lot about your history. And you kept saying, when they get older, I'll talk to them more. But now it's kind of out in the open. You As they get older and they're learning about drugs at school, they have a big DARE program
Yeah.
in 5th grade. So they're aware of things, and so now that you're very honest with them about things, and so for them to hear that song and it actually even talked about them, the
Yeah.
oldest, she got very emotional and
Yeah.
was crying and like she's proud of you, and so, I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was really really special too.
The trip that she said was, I'm sorry you had to go through that. And I'm like, I want you to know right now, I am not the victim here. You know, like, I don't want this thing to be like, oh, because of the war, because of the Marine Corps. Fuck that. It had nothing to do with that. I made these decisions on my own. You're going to make some decisions on your own. And just know that, like, all these decisions are important and they have very lasting consequences. And so, as you well know, it's not 100% honesty yet because they're not ready for that level.
Sure.
But I mean, when they get to the point that they want to start asking real questions, I'm going to give them real answers because that's just the only thing I know how to do, man. And I figure if I educate them and they can see my fuck ups, maybe they'll be like, look, man, my old man's an all right dude, but he was telling me about this stuff and it is not cool. So that, I don't know. Maybe I have probably said too much to them at a young age or whatever, but I just don't know how else to do it.
I mean, it was just such a big part of your life, our life, that I think it would almost be unfair to hide that from
Right.
them because, maybe that'll help them understand why things were the way they were
Yeah.
at certain times. I don't, who knows what they remember,
Right.
don't remember, but,
Right.
they've been through some stuff. They were involved in all of it. Our whole household was. So, I mean,
For sure.
I think it's good for them to know, like, kids sometimes, kids that are like, not in your situation, but it's my fault my parents got divorced,
Yeah.
or it's my fault dad was mad at this, or and
Mhm.
for them to to maybe understand, like, dad was going through something. It wasn't like that we were just doing things wrong or whatever. If it affected them in any kind of way, I think as they get older too will help them maybe understand some things.
Yeah. Well, and just like many kid situations and family situations, it's not just in this house, and I don't go into any of that stuff, but it's
Correct.
not just in this house that
Right.
they have other obstacles and
Mm-hmm.
things, hurdles to jump and shit. And yeah, that is life, but we all want our kids to have this picture perfect, pain free, just fun, happy time. And unfortunately, it can't always be
Mm-hmm.
Silver Dollar City. It'd be cool if it was, but it just
Mm-hmm.
can't. So it's like, well, you had a verse in the song too. I liked yours. I kind of had to have that one. I'm like, yeah, we got to talk about this one, dude. I told her to leave. She wouldn't.
Yeah, you
Stubborn
didn't even
mule.
just tell me to leave. Your actions
Yeah,
were telling me to
for
leave,
sure.
and as you were saying that the veteran that came up to you and told you about his story, with drinking and everything, his wife came up to me and said, I've been in your shoes, and I'm glad that you stuck it out. It does get better. And so we talked for a little bit. That was pretty neat. And I was telling her that it's not like I was held like hostage or anything. I was in this situation. I had known you previously, and
Hmm.
I had just known that, I don't know, I just felt very strongly that yes, you had some problems, but you were very worthy of love, and I just wasn't ready to give up on you. And a lot of people, I mean, in the independent, strong, single person, I was single 10 and a half years before you. Like, I was very content, but there was, yes, of course it was a choice, but it almost felt like it wasn't. I don't know how to explain that.
That's my
But
that's my
but
power.
but staying with you and like trying to help you, I was, I know I'm like I'm a fixer and I like to make things
Yeah.
better, but this was more than that. There was you and the children and me, and I don't know. And I know that you're not the most religious person, and I'm not either, but I felt like in that time of my life I didn't really have much else to hold on to, and I did kind of found my faith through all of that, and
You did back then?
that's when I found my faith
Really?
more. I mean, I've had situations here and there, but that's where I really relied on it, because I was one of those people that relied on my faith when things were the absolute worst.
Right.
And I had some things happen before that, some years before that
Yeah.
were pretty terrible, traumatic, and then that situation. Because I remember this one time, like it was the night before you went to rehab that first time,
I've
and
only been once.
oh yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, but you relapsed. You didn't go to
Yeah,
rehab,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I
I'm
just
like, fuck.
I had known that you went to go get drugs. I just knew it, and
Yeah.
I didn't leave. I was so angry and so upset. I didn't even know what to do. I grabbed my Bible. I don't even think I grabbed my purse and like left. And I went to this park and overlooked the, I don't even know if it was the river or what. And I'm
Yeah, it
like
was.
I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm like reading my Bible, and like to me, I don't know, like it just felt that's not something I would even normally do. It was my grandma's Bible that I got after she passed away. It was just something it was always in her room, and so I put it in my room. I didn't even know how to read it because it was the old version or whatever that's
Yeah.
called, but I grabbed it anyway. And the very next morning is when we got the call that you got into that rehab in Florida. So
Mm.
it's like I kept getting signs, in my opinion, like something was holding me there. And yes, I loved you and I knew you were worthy of love and I love the kids and all of that stuff. But there was something more. And I think that I really think that I was put in that position not only to help you, but to help myself. Because if you got you got healed and you got better, then I was gonna get what I wanted out of life, and I was gonna have a partner and have love too. So it was I don't know, something gave me the strength to keep fighting, to stay there longer than what I know I would have normally, because that wasn't me. Normally, I would look for any little thing and like peace out.
That's what you call searching at the bottom of the barrel. All right, folks. Well, it was good talking to you. I'm going to go fucking punch myself in the face again. We didn't come down here to bag on. No, this
No,
is
we're
good.
not
No, no,
bagging
no. I
on
know
you.
you're not.
Not
And
at
this
all.
is exactly what, like, parts of this is exactly what I want because, like I say, when the kids are down here, if there's another kid or if there's another wife that, I hope someday is listening to this and maybe their husband, like, I hope that so many other people, whether it's the man with the problems or the woman with the problem, but their spouse, I hope so many people can hear this and go like, if there's a chance and you can work on this thing and you know something about your partner, sometimes it fucking works out well. And it has for us for years. So, I mean, that's my goal with this, obviously,
Yeah.
is just like help people.
It wasn't that I didn't. It's not that I did anything. I mean, I was there, but I I kind of allowed a lot of stuff to happen, or I like pushed it under the rug or swept it under the rug, or I didn't want to believe it. So,
Yeah, but I
uh,
used a lot of strategies and
y-
tactics and mental health to get away with my
yeah,
behavior.
I didn't really know a lot about PTSD until you. I mean, I had heard of it,
Of course.
but I didn't know. And so
Nobody did though.
in the beginning, I thought that a lot of time, now that I know you were withdrawing, actively withdrawing a lot
Yeah.
and like during the night and stuff. And I
Yeah.
just assume that's what PTSD
Right.
is. That's what that does. That's why he can't sleep in this room. That's why this, what,
Well, that
and
was by design. That's what I wanted
yeah, no.
because then you would find out my secret.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, as addicts, our secret is the only thing we've got left. So like it's fucking weird how much you will do to hold on to that secret. Because once I'm busted, now it's out and I gotta
Yeah.
fix it or else I lose. All this other shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was by design. But yeah, Alicia started. So she is a very smart person and far, far smarter than me. And so what she did was start researching, and it was all to help me and to benefit me and her and the kids and our life and our relationship and all that shit. But she ended up learning more about me than I know about me. And it was like, fuck, man, I shouldn't have said anything at all. But that's exactly what I needed. And so when you say that you didn't do anything, indirectly your support, yes, I kept things going way too long and all that stuff. But I've said it a bunch of times, you not giving up
Yeah.
was like what I need. I need someone to fucking fight for me. That's what I've always said. Like someone
Mm-hmm.
care about me. I'm not talking about my mom, of course, like my
Sure.
sister, but somebody fucking care about me enough to like care about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can you please?
Yeah.
And so when you did, and then
I mean, I will say though, I did enable you a little
absolutely.
bit, because I came in like wanting to fix everything and helping financially and then this and then that and then taking care of the kids. Like, oh my gosh, he's got these problems. He's got PTSD. So I'm getting up with the kids and
Right.
I'm doing all these things that a girlfriend and then I wasn't, we didn't get married till after you were clean, but things that probably weren't normal because I was feeling like very helpful and very,
Yeah.
it made me feel good. And then it probably prevented you from maybe changing a little earlier than maybe you
Yeah.
could have, maybe.
We've got another
But
year coming up soon.
yeah,
No, I mean
the
the
21st.
September,
I
yeah.
know. I know.
But I don't know what that was. I honestly I can't explain that. What I said to you in the car about I quit, I don't have, like, there wasn't a thing. You didn't say in Doc Shapiro's office like, I'm gonna leave you.
Not to you.
You didn't. Well, thanks.
No.
No, I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding. And folks, we can joke about this because it is such a big part of our
Yeah.
life, and we have to, because if it's always serious and it's always depressing and it's always like exactly what addiction is, it's a shitty, nasty, terrible thing that ruins lives and families and everything else. If we didn't veer off and try to make, here's Echo with his bone. If we didn't kind of joke just ourselves, then I don't know what would happen, but this is the way that we handle it. So, but in Shapiro's office, you never, I mean, you never told me, you never gave me an ultimatum. What you did say, didn't you say, I love you and I'll always love you and those kids, but I can't watch you kill yourself or something like that?
Something to that effect. Because I will
Well,
say,
that's what I remember. So that's the story.
Dr. Shapiro, I don't think we would be married. We would be sitting
Absolutely
here
not.
without Dr. Shapiro
No.
and without Chris Figueroa.
Fuck no.
There's no way. Those two people, there's no
And
way.
the list goes on, but yeah.
Yeah, but those two like created a lot of things, and Dr. Shapiro was really helpful for me and my security.
He's coming in soon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Whoop.
I can't wait. But what I didn't say to you is, so we had just moved into a different house. Sorry, our dog is chewing his bone. But we had just moved into a different house, and we're in this lease together. And financially, I was pretty much the one on the hook.
Oh, dude, I was at Home Depot
Yeah,
killing it for $10 an hour.
You were, but things were getting worse and not better.
Yeah.
After your rehab and stuff.
Yeah.
And so this was probably a Sunday. I don't know what, you were at work or something, and I was just sitting there and I was like thinking, my game plan. I always had a plan B
Sure.
in life. I
Still
think
do.
everyone
Yeah,
should,
absolutely.
as Trish calls it, the fuck you fund.
Yeah,
But
it's real.
like if something happens, you got to be ready to take care of
It's
yourself.
real, yeah.
But I was thinking, what am I going to do? And I'm like, I love these kids. I love him. I can't do this because I have been around a lot of people with addiction and some just, I just knew the reality. And not a lot of the percentage of people that I knew really changed or got better. And so I knew that I couldn't just sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
So I was literally like thinking in my head what I was going to do to get out of our lease. Like, this is what's going to happen. And I was figuring out my game plan. I didn't say it to anyone out loud. I didn't give you the ultimatum, but it was
time
coming.
Huh? Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, this was like Saturday or Sunday. And it was like that week at Tuesday, Wednesday at Dr. Shapiro's.
Really?
Wow. When you said to me, and it was like, wow, I didn't even have to give the ultimatum because you did it yourself. Like,
yeah, but how much did you believe me? I mean, really?
I mean,
no
words
way.
are just words,
sure.
Right? I mean, with anything, like,
sure.
You got to show somebody through actions.
Yeah.
Really. And so I was just like, yeah, okay. But
I had given you a ton of reasons in the past to not believe
But
me.
usually when you were coming to me about saying things like that, it was when like I was mad at you or you
right.
got caught or you were scared I was going to leave. This really wasn't that. It was just after a session and I wasn't even, you were in the sessions privately. I would just kind of wait in the car or whatever.
It was very non-confrontational.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then you came in and said that and I'm like, okay. And then I went back to work and and then that's when you left a week later. And then you weren't going to go on the Odyssey, the Project Odyssey they wanted to send you on. That's where I was like, oh yeah, that was all bullshit because you were already like coming up with reasons why
we're already backing out.
You couldn't go.
For sure. That was the fucking I mean I know that I had that made up in my mind. And usually that's all it takes. Like if I have it made up, it's done already. I mean, there's a lot of work to do, but like I'm going to go do it. But when they called me for that Odyssey, the Wounded Warrior Project, they had to know their biggest thing, and I was very open about my drug use, was that I was not going to go down to the woods, pretty sure I've already said this, and withdraw. Right? Because they don't have the medical, you can't fucking deal with some guy in the woods withdrawing. It's like you could die. But I was like a couple weeks or whatever out. Like by the time we were going to leave for that, I would have been way past the point of dying from withdrawal, So like they were cool with, I don't know if they really wanted to take me for that medical reason, but they did. And I don't even know what happened down there. We didn't have some like sit around the fire chant thing and some ayahuasca trip that made me open a new dimension and find what I really wanted in life. It was just being outside and like being a part of something. And when we were hiking up the mountain to go rappel back down it, taking the rope from a dude and like, obviously you and the kids relied on me and stuff like that, but I needed to feel it from a different angle, I think. And so just being out in the woods for that 5 days or what, like something weird. It was something weird, but I came home like rejuvenated.
You called me one night from there and
oh yeah, we went to town to that gas station.
Yeah, you called me and just the things you were saying, I definitely could tell a shift. Like I noticed it. You were apologizing and you were very genuine with things that it was because the genuine you I would only get glimpses of.
Yeah.
Honestly, throughout those couple years. And that was like, wow, and I believed it, but I also kept my guard up. You got home because you went to rehab before and you came home and were worse than you ever were. I mean, your dad died.
I did a few months good, right?
I don't remember. It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't very long.
No.
And then it was just, so anyway, so I kept my guard up and was just kind of almost waiting for it because I'm learning about myself in general. Like I always assume the worst so that I'm prepared, which I'm learning that if I'm a God-fearing woman like I want to be, then you're supposed to not do that. You're supposed to just always have your faith and your hope and your trust in God and the good situation to happen and not the worst. But that's not how my brain operates. So I was kind of just waiting because, I had family members and other people very close to me who were the complete opposite. So I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Here we go. It's just another person blowing smoke, but you definitely proved it, and very quickly.
Well, I doubt God would want you to get fucked around much longer by a drug addict like me either. You know what I'm saying? So I get where you're coming from with that, but like as far as your faith is concerned, I think it's also still a good idea to be like have your guard up and be protected from getting hurt over and over and over by a drug addict.
Well, yeah, I think it's just about being smart, and not, because now, I think every marriage has its highs and lows, and that's just going to be part of, I think, in our whole life. It's something, our whole marriage, it's going to take work and effort and time, that's just in any relationship. And I am finding that there will be things, and as you know, that will kind of put me back to 8 years ago, 9, 10, whatever.
I hear you.
And so because of things that had happened, and it'll like strike something, and I'll get very defensive with you, and it'll cause stuff because back then I didn't verbalize concerns or issues. I kind of just, I don't know. I felt like, oh my God, it was weird. It was like you were scared I was going to leave you, but I also felt that same thing because, it was like you were hiding secrets from me. And it's like, I found somebody that I really, truly love, which never happened.
Right.
And so I was kind of scared to lose you too. And so I kind of let things go. And now, like, when things come up, I don't know.
You said that it changed quick. Like after all that, like I made up my mind after all that. I preach people, places, and things, as you know, in my in Alicia and I's personal life, and if I'm talking to somebody or definitely on this podcast. But that really did work for me, right?
I think so.
Okay, because I was hoping I didn't make it up all these years, but like. You were there. Unfortunately, I had to not be a part of some very important people in my life.
Well, I think that's why you relapsed so quick the first time.
Absolutely.
Because it was family members. I mean, it wasn't...
And very close friends.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, people that were like your family. But yes.
Right.
So that... And that's really hard, and Doc Shapiro helped us a lot. Not that I want to talk about his personal life, but he gave us examples of things in his own life that he, and so hearing somebody that you respect so much, if they did it, I can do it. And I didn't believe you were going to be able to change your people, places, and things because of just your life and the way you grew up.
My fucking mom.
I just still feel weird talking about that. But,
I know. Me too.
And that's the part where I guess I worry for the kids more, but that's not our...
Sure. Yeah.
But because she was such an amazing person, I don't want to...
No, I know. And this whole thing isn't designed to disrespect my mom in any way, shape, or form. No, I haven't even told a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I will. It just hasn't come up organically or whatever. But it has nothing to do with that. Again, it's a learning experience, and it's hopefully helpful. And there's somebody out there going through that. And all I want them to do is say, like, I can do this, I forgot that Doc Shapiro had kind of let us in on some situations that he had to go through. And like, now that you say that, I remember that being so huge for me because like even in rehab, I would raise my hand and go, hey, I know you guys are talking about like people, places, and things, but what if these people are family? And they're like, what if? What? And they would look at you like, what's the question you're asking? And I'm like, well, I can't, like, I'm talking about my mom. And they're like, okay, you have to change your people, places, and things. What's your question? I'm like,
Right.
I can't not talk to my mom. And they're like, do you use with your mom? I'm like, unfortunately, yes. They're like, well, then you're either going to continue to be an addict with your mom, or you have to make that. And it was like, fuck, man. They were so just kind of raw and like straight up about it. I'm like, it's my fucking mom you're talking about, but I had to realize that on my own. It was, and this is still the best decision I ever made, was it was like either my family, me, you, and those kids, or my family, my mom, and other. And it's like, I mean, you guys, I've told you my dad and all that shit wasn't there for me. I wasn't going to repeat that again, man. It's been a repetition in my family for generations, as far as I've heard. I haven't looked into it too much because I really don't give a fuck, but I I had already done enough. I had already became my dad in so many ways that I was kind of not unaware of, but I really didn't look at it until I started seeing clearly. But I was doing the exact same shit to my kids and soon to be wife that my dad did. And so it was just like, it's a no-brainer looking at it now, but at the time that was a fucking tough one, man. And when we had to reschedule Thanksgiving that one time, like, you know, so we're supposed to be going out to see my mom for Thanksgiving, Alicia and I and the kids. I don't know how far out, not that far. I was still very
You were very new because it was
very new.
September, right? And
yeah,
then
because I was in
November?
rehab. Well, I was in rehab for Christmas, remember?
That was the year before, though. You officially became clean September 21st.
Of 16, right?
Right. And then November was 2 months later.
Okay.
So that was the very first holiday.
Right. And
since
so,
being completely sober.
Oh, okay. All right.
And you had a conversation. I mean, you talked to your mom.
I was very honest.
Pretty,
and she was so receptive to it. You know, she wanted the best for me. It's not like, you know, she didn't want me to like come down. She wanted to be better herself, I know. But, you know, like, so I call her and just check in, and I could just hear it in her voice, and things didn't sound great. And I said, you know, do we need to reschedule? And she said, would that be okay? And it breaks my fucking heart to talk about it, man, because like, you know, but I respect her so much for doing that for us, because had we showed up, I can't explain it to the kids. I don't want to explain it to anybody. Yeah. But it's like, that would have been a really shitty fucking Thanksgiving. And I'm just so grateful and I respect her for doing that for us so much, you know?
You know, what really sucked about that day, that whole thing, but then your sister calling me, like his family and even friends would like, almost because I think they were involved in certain things or things were normal to them, that they would like go through me to, it was like, well, what's going on? Why aren't you bringing like whatever side I was supposed to bring? And I'm like, because Dom talked to your mom and she was like playing like she had no idea what I was talking about. And maybe she didn't, like maybe your mom didn't tell her any of that, but I was just like, why am I getting pulled? Like, you know, I don't know. I just felt like I feel like I was always made to look like it was my fault or I did something. And I'm like, I'm just kind of along for the ride, like being supportive, because I would have had no idea probably if we went and your mom wasn't sober. Like, I don't know that I would have even really known that, that conversation was even going on between the two of you if you didn't tell me.
I would have. And that's why I chose to not, like, no way. You know, I was still way too new, way too early, way too everything.
But remember, we took the kids and we got donuts and I don't know whatever we did. Yeah. But yeah, that was.
But I, you know, I talk about with the people, places, and things. You know, the places you go. Us moving across that river, like now. Every other street in our new neighborhood, I don't know somebody that lives there, and I can't go down there. And this is a tough one to say because I've said this in a couple of group when I went and talked over at Scott and stuff like that, but that's a tall order to ask anybody to just up and move, right? I mean, like, that's a fucking difficult thing to do, and without you, it would never have happened. So, I mean, forget that, but I mean, how do people change their places if they can't? If you live in some town in the middle of Kentucky and the next place to move is 200 miles, I'm just throwing an example out there, but like if the next place is some other little fucking town that you don't know anybody, and how do you, I'm not asking you, I'm just saying this is the big question, like how do you navigate that? Well, say you can't move, say you have whatever tying you down there, good or bad, and it's like you can't get out of there. It's a fucking problem. And I don't know, you know, I hope if anything, you can just figure something out. But yeah, man, sometimes saying it to yourself is what needs to be done, and kind of committing to it and all that other stuff. So, all right, well, we'll get off of me for a little while. It was a fun trip down memory lane. I almost cried for the first time on my podcast, folks. That will happen, I guarantee it, but not tonight. I almost got it when I was talking about calling my mom, and almost got me because it was a tough day. I hated that fucking conversation so much, but again, I respected her, you know, and And there's one too, like if there are people around and they are using, or they might just not be the best influences for you. If they continue to try to draw you in instead of go, hey man, get the fuck, what was it? Goodwill Hunting, when he's like, if I see you here tomorrow, you know, they knew their buddy had so much, go, get the fuck away from me. So it sucks, man, because people that are our friends and they are good people. Don't get me wrong, man. A lot of these people that I'm talking about here are very good people, and I know that about them, and they are worth it, and they deserve a second chance, and I hope they're all getting one. Because these drugs and shit, they make really good people make very bad decisions, and you know, nothing that they would be proud of. But I hope the best for everybody, and I try to be there to help and stuff. But sometimes you got to make decisions, man, and it's a tough one to make, but you got to do what's best for you and your kids and your wife or your husband or whoever's involved, you know. So let's get off of that one. So, and we'll get back to it. And again, write some comments on Spotify or anything. If you want me to talk about some shit, I will tell you anything that I can without any kind of security or anything like that to my family. I don't give a fuck. I want to be transparent with you guys, like I've said from the jump, and I want to continue to do that because I think it might be able to help somebody. So keep sending me comments, and you know, let me know if there's something you want me to talk about.
I have one thing, like,
Please.
talking about that, because like I remember like the Thanksgiving, and that was just one situation. Like how, and it was like the kids or people around the kids who were kind of on the outside who didn't really know everything, because again, we're not going to talk bad about our mom, who we really love.
Yeah.
Like we're the a-holes. Like, why aren't you taking us to see grandma? Why aren't you? So it's like the kids were mad at you and me, like stuck up Alicia, you know, because Alicia's never had a drug problem. And so by that, I became, to people in your family, I really feel, and maybe some friends too, like I was the stuck up bitch just because I've never been addicted to drugs. Like I've had a lot of crap in my life. And
you were the motherfucker for getting me better, helping me get a better life. I don't understand that either.
Yeah. And I never I don't feel like I ever judged anyone, and maybe I did. I don't know. I'm
very
human.
little, if at all.
I'm human, but I try to give everybody grace and love, and don't treat them any different. But you know, and that's fine. But in this situation, you're talking about helping other people, like. And I still don't know how we did it. Like, I think the kids just saw like how we were and how much we loved them and that we were good. We didn't have to explain to them, even though there was other people. And even still to this day, people will say things to them about us. Like, well, I can't believe you don't do this or you don't do that. And it's like, they're not stupid now, but back then that was hard. You know, like, what do you say to your kids why we can't go see grandma? Because you obviously can't say the truth when they're 5, 6, 7 years old, but how is that fair to like, we get to be the bad guys all the time? I
don't know. We just made up that they weren't feeling good.
Yeah.
Which wasn't abnormal. You know, my mom didn't have the best of health. So that wasn't, and sometimes it would be for other reasons, you know, that she just didn't want to come around, and I got it. So that one was pretty easy to shake off, but there were some other ones that like, but yeah, you were the motherfucker. It felt like to us. Now we could be calling this game all wrong. I understand that. And again, man, this can be with being successful or getting in shape, or this goes to all kinds of different things. People, you know, they get a little weird about watching you succeed. And when I say succeed, people, we are far from rich or any of that other stuff.
Not at all.
We do well, and we're very happy, but this is what I talk about when I mean my group of friends or my small circle of people I associate with. They're all people that go, oh man, I benched 225 today. They're like, dude, fucking right, man. That's great progress. I know you haven't been able to do that forever, and that's awesome, man. Keep it up. Next month it'll be 230. Da 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 da. Not, well, you fucking pussy. Why do you need, you know? And so it's got to do with surrounding yourself with good people too, in and out of sobriety. You know, it doesn't have to be about drugs. If you accomplish something and you get your welding certificate, and anybody, I'm not talking about joking, but if any of your buds are like, that's fucking stupid, that I'd say kind of keep a little bit of distance because that's not good. But, you make that judgment call yourself. But again, I've said it before too, man. Try to surround yourself with those positive people. It's good to be around happy, productive people as much as you can be. We try anyways. So I told you guys already, and barring some kind of unforeseen circumstance, we will have retired Detective Mike Grawich coming in this week. And I am pumped. Talked to him on the phone the other day, and like everybody else, I know I already said this, but I'm talking to Alicia now. He was saying like, how I'm not that interesting. And it's like, you fucking just wait,
I just watched him on TV.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to go into it, but I had to do my homework. I started watching that stupid, what was it called on Hulu? It was called, there's something about Pam or something to that effect. And it was the one Renee Zellweger did on
Pamela Hupp.
On Pamela Hupp. But no, Renee played her character.
Right, yeah.
I started watching that. It's like an 8-part series, and they're all an hour and a half long. And so Alicia had a good point. She was like, why don't you just watch the Dateline episode that Mike was on? So that's what we just did.
It wasn't Dateline.
People fucking magazine.
People magazine investigates. And it was on that ID.
Apple TV had it, but it was on the ID network or whatever.
Yeah.
So we just checked that out, and I was just taking notes and doing a little homework and trying to prepare myself because, no, I don't want to be scripted, but I do when someone like Mike comes in with all of his do you want to let him out? You can if you want. Just set your headphones on. Our people are used to it by now. He always goes out. When someone like Mike comes over or some of the other guests I got coming, I do want to be a little bit prepared, right? It's like I want to have something to say. So we were watching that, and I mean, what a fucking asshole that lady. Alicia, you're still on air. Just let him out and come back in, bro. We're live here. We're live here, man. And now, like he always does, he's gonna stand at the door. Story of our lives. But I mean, what an asshole that lady is. And so you guys can all watch everything that I've seen and taken notes on in the Hulu special or wherever it's at, Netflix, Hulu, I think. But
Hulu, yeah.
I can't wait to get his take on it. He's retired now, so hopefully he'll have like some good insider stuff, and I am just pumped to have him. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to stay here for it?
I might.
In the new studio?
I mean, I'll be working, so maybe I'll sneak away and come listen a little bit.
How do you like the studio?
I mean, it's really nice. It's right in the back of my gym. But
in the back of your workout spot?
I mean, it's my favorite place in the basement. Probably one of my favorite places in the house would be this area.
Where can you visualize something like this happening? Because if we're going to do bedrooms on one side, we've already made up our decision, folks. We are keeping our gym. Come hell or high water, we are going to have our spot. So back there, I don't even know. It's got to get...
Well, that might be the weight area and then move. I don't know.
I don't know.
We need to have professionals come in here because I'm not really good at like floor plans and stuff. I mean,
you're not? I thought you would be.
Me?
I mean, who's good at floor plans?
Not me.
So anyway, I'm pumped about Mike coming in. I'm pumped about Alicia buying me a new studio. She might just have to get like a storefront thing down by the grocery store and pay for that for me.
Yeah, I might need a third job, I guess.
I might need one too. You watched my favorite comedian Shane Gillis' stand-up special with me the other night.
Yes, I did.
What'd you think? I know
it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I liked it.
See, she liked it. I loved it, I think. And apparently he was trending or whatever all you people say was something when it's popular, but he did great. Oh, I kind of threw you under the bus about your procedure the other day. How you feeling, bro?
You talked about it on here? Oh my gosh.
It's our life, dude.
That's my life, not yours.
You're a part of this thing.
Okay, so I turned 45 and they changed the the screening criteria. It used to be age 50, you get your first colonoscopy, but they just changed it to age 45. And I have family history of stomach cancer, and I'm like, well, I'm 45. I might as well do it before the end of the year. before our deductible starts over, and they're like, "Oh, well, we can get you in less than 2 weeks." I'm like, "Oh shoot!" But
You're
I
helping people.
I mean, I don't know. I'm helping people. I help myself. It made me feel peace of mind to know I don't have to do it again for 10 years. So, working in the medical field, I really, yes, you need to take care of yourself and eat right and, exercise and all of those things. But you should also keep up on the preventative things. When doctors tell you at 45, get a colonoscopy, at 35, get your baseline mammogram, do this, do that. I'm going to do those things because if you catch, and there's a lot of women my age and younger, and I'm sure it's from our food and stuff. Our friend and my friend and I was just talking about this Friday, Julie,
Yeah.
but how she knows a lot of people with colon cancer, young women, and I think it's the things in our food, and luckily, colon cancer is one of like the most treatable cancers you can get if you catch it early, and people don't want to do it because the prep is I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah, you weren't happy, dude.
It's terrible. But like I was thinking, because like I remember watching my grandma, like at the end of her life, some of the things I was having to deal with for one night, she was having to deal with on a consistent basis. Like, who would want to live like that? And hers was to the point because I had heard that she was they thought that she had cervical cancer because her stomach was all bloated, and cervical cancer is another cancer that's very hard to diagnose, because by the time you have symptoms, it's pretty much too late. And so that's why women need to get their pap smears once a year, and they need to get their mammogram. I mean, you need to do all of these things, because if they catch it early, then, because she didn't have her colonoscopy. That's what it was when she was due, I think. I'm not saying that would have solved anything, but if they find something, then you get it treated before. The hope is you get it before it's stage 3, 4, and you can, get it taken care of. And so that's, now that I have a husband and kids and a dog and a house, like I want to live for as long as I can.
Yeah.
At least do my part in trying to keep up on things.
Well, this is how you're helping people, man. Somebody else might not be wanting to get that shit done. I can't wait to take a finger up my butt.
Oh my
you
God.
can check my prostate now. I'm so ready to go do it. Like I've told you, I just want to know. I would rather know
It's
quick.
not that bad. They
I
put
know.
some KY on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not
mean,
even tripping on it, dude. Call me whatever you want. I want to know.
Yeah.
Earlier. I think
yeah.
I'm not tripping on it. So, but I thought it was funny, and you didn't shit yourself. Yay!
No, I mean, not really.
You gotta get used to it, dude. I'm gonna talk about everything. Well, not
the procedure itself, it's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, they put you out and you take a really nice nap. You don't feel a thing. And then when you wake up and hear the doctor tell you everything was great, it's like, okay, And so everything that I had went through the night before and that morning, it made it worth it. We went and ate a good meal, and I took a nice nap, and it's done for 10 years. So
10 years.
Yeah. Right. Unless I would to have symptoms or something. But yeah.
Right. See, man, and that's 10 years you don't have to fucking worry about that
Exactly.
again.
And I'm like, by then, hopefully technology is a little different, where you don't have to drink stuff that tastes like sweat. Oh, that was the worst.
Yeah. I didn't think it'd taste that bad, but I only took a sip of it. I didn't have to drink.
I mean, if you had, oh my gosh, like
yeah.
Anyway.
Good. I'll go for mine whenever they.
It reminded me of peroxide, actually. I'm like, this tastes familiar, but what, like sweat?
See, you said salt water, I think. I thought I remember you saying salt water, so that's what I related it to, and I was like, I unfortunately drink more salt water than that in my life.
Why can't they make it taste better? I don't understand, but
I don't know.
Anyway, it's over.
What else have we done this weekend? Oh, we cleaned the house today. I got a bunch of stuff done in the basement, just trying to clean up for Mr. Growich when he comes over, so it looks somewhat amateur.
We went to a beautiful wedding yesterday.
We did go to a wedding out in the country. That was nice.
It was really nice.
They had what are those little things? Muffins? Cupcakes. They had cupcakes, and they did like the sweet and savory thing where it was almost like a yellow cake, but then it had whatever the icing was. Alicia said some kind of marshmallow. She's crazy, but it had bacon bits in it. So it was like those caramel donuts with bacon on them, and it was killer. And then they fucked around and did the wedding cake, and the one had bacon bits in it too. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. So our friend was the mother of the bride, and so she was, busy walking around doing all her, mother of the bride duties, and she was telling us, we were talking about the cupcakes, and she was like, yeah, they got 14 dozen. I can't believe they got this much. And then later on, she comes to the table, and when she went to go get a cupcake, they were all gone. I'm
Busted.
like, oh, shoot.
14 dozen wasn't enough.
Yeah.
That's all we were worried about.
I felt bad
because
because I think between us, we had 3. I'm not going to lie. We did. Well, I mean, I had 1.5, like 1 and a bite of one, and then you had 1 and the rest of that one.
And I had a piece of cake. 2 pieces.
You did?
No, because didn't I bring 2 pieces over for us to eat?
I don't know. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I only tried to bite. A cake with bacon. I like bacon, but I don't really like it in dessert.
I was surprised. I was happily surprised. Is that the way you say it?
Sure. I mean, I've had chocolate covered bacon, like at this trendy art gallery party. I'm like, but
that would work too. Hey, why did you go into broadcasting? I wanted to ask you about that because you are good on, like, you can tell that you have. I mean, I'm a professional at this, so of course I'm good on the mic. But like, you can tell that you have done that before. What made you go to broadcasting school when you were young?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to I like to read commercials, like in magazines. I would like to read ads out loud. And I always thought that like being a voiceover artist, I don't know why I never followed this, but I really wanted to do voiceover work.
Get back into it.
Voiceover work, I thought would be really, like in that show we were watching, like with Mike.
Yeah.
Like those investigative shows and the crime stories. Like I wanted to be the voice, like telling the story. I thought that would be really cool. I always loved to read and read aloud and stuff when I was younger.
Still do.
And then in my 20s, I dated a guy who was into freestyle motocross, and I got really into it. I thought it was awesome, and he thought he was going to be like, a famous athlete. And I'm like, well, then I'm going to do the broadcasting side of it. And that's when it was like picking up. And I just really wanted to work in action sports. But living here in St. Louis, mainstream is pretty much all there was, baseball, football, hockey. And I'm like, I'm not really I love baseball. I work in baseball, but I wasn't really interested in broadcasting for that. But anyway, we had a broadcast school. It's no longer here. It was called the Broadcast Center in St. Louis. There was some TV personalities and radio personalities who were the instructors. So it was like, I think it was like a 10-month program or something. You go and you take classes, and basically they teach you how to produce, like write your own commercials, produce them, kind of like some of the equipment you probably use.
We'll get to work, dude. I still don't know how to use this shit.
And then we had to learn how to basically have a radio show. So we would go into a studio, and it would either be country or rock, I think were like the options. And we would do 2 or 3 hours that at the end of school. That's what we did. It was we had our own radio show, and they told me that I would probably be good in more of a rock market. I just didn't want to do radio. I wanted to do TV. And in St. Louis, it was really hard to get into TV, but luckily somebody that I knew through school introduced me to somebody that knew somebody. And so I did an internship for a TV show for a broadcast company in St. Louis. They were downtown called, I think it was Cool Fire is what their name was. And they produced this show for the Cardinals called The Cardinals Insider. Mm-hmm. And Rick Horton was the host. And so they let me, I did it for free, but it was good experience. So I worked in the office, and I digitized and things like that. Some things for them, and kind of their office manager was out on maternity leave. So I worked there for a little bit, and then they let me do a little segment on the show called The Sea of Red. And so I went and interviewed Cardinals fans. And
did you only do it that one time?
I did it for a season.
I was going to say, I thought you did a bunch of them.
So I did a few of them, just to kind of get my my resume. And then we had talked about me maybe working there full time and stuff, but I wanted to go out into the action sports world. So somebody I met through them that worked at Fox, like Fox 2, they knew somebody with ESPN and got me in the X Games. And so I went to the X Games as a production assistant, and actually ended up getting paid. I think the first year I might have had to pay my travel, but they put me up and they paid, and then that just kind of got my foot in the door. And I worked, eventually I ended up working with the talent. And what I realized when I worked with the talent is I liked doing everything behind the scenes, because being the talent, let's face it, you have to be beautiful, and you have to be skinny, and you have to be
check.
Well, I didn't feel like I was quite in that category for action sports at that time. I'm flat chested. I don't. It just didn't seem like it was
Now we're talking about your boobs.
my thing. Well, it just wasn't my. I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable, and
I'm kidding.
but I didn't want that pressure. But I liked helping in the background, and
Right.
so that was kind of my niche. I found doing more of the production and the event production side. So that got my foot in the door, and then I did a 10 years worth of travel doing event production, mostly action sports. I did get to do what I wanted to do, and I worked every action sports event that I wanted to, except for one. That's okay. And got to travel, and I don't know. I just got out of the speaking part of it.
You still do have a good speaking voice, though. Like, you speak
Oh.
clearly and inflection and all that stuff. I'm a professional.
Oh,
so
okay.
know
I mean,
all
we
this.
learned a lot about that, the enunciating and stuff. And I remember I wanted to get rid of this Missouri accent.
Right.
It's very nasally.
Yeah. Farty far.
Yeah.
What? And that, I noticed that on that Pam Hupp thing. Her fucking accent's so
yeah.
ugly. It's not as bad as Boston, but it's bad.
Yeah.
Well, living in California and hanging with all Mexicans, and then coming back here, and then going to Arizona and hanging with Mexicans, and then like country. For a few years, there are people like, "Where the fuck are you from?" I'm like, I don't know, everywhere. But yeah, you seem to do it. And you know what else you do? You read aloud. Like, so if let's say we're going to, we went to Blue Man Group one time, and like, I don't know if you did it on this specific occasion, but like, you'll pull the thing up on your phone and you'll read the whole thing to me. And I know you just like to read, so I don't really fuck with you too bad about it, but you'll read this whole thing and I'm like, fucking, I get it, but I just know you like to read. So it's something. And then like when you read with the kids and stuff, you can tell that you're doing your broadcasting thing, but you also can read very well and speak clearly. So it's funny to watch you do it.
I did not, and I don't think I do that on purpose. I think that does just come naturally. And
You're
with
just a natural.
reading, I like to know. I like to know about the subject I'm reading about. So I'm not like really a skim read. I mean, I can be a skim reader, but I like to read it all to kind of to learn. Maybe
I'm a skim reader. I'm not even a reader. I should be though.
But like punctuation and things are really important to me. I don't like things spelled wrong, pronounced wrong. Even if I'm not saying it in front of anybody who would get offended. I know.
I know.
I don't know. It is important to me.
Well,
I guess.
in your line of work, things need to be correct too.
I've always been in the medical field too, and you know you're not supposed to.
I think that's a pretty good place to kind of make sure things are spelled correctly. What else? Do we have anything else? We're just kind of checking in. I played golf. I shot like shit, but I made some adjustments that, and I don't play a lot, so it was all a win to me, but then we went and hung over at the Captain's and had some good dinner, and that's a weekend wrap, people. That's about it. Another week at work and practice and all that other stuff.
I got another few more weeks of baseball, and then that's over for the season because not going to postseason this year, folks. No. Not the Cardinals.
That's it for October, huh?
So that's bittersweet. It's gonna be nice to have extra time, especially now when the kids are so busy with all their sports, not having to miss anything. But I will be missing that extra paycheck
for sure. Well, you're gonna have to get another job in the meantime. All right, man. We just wanted to come check in. What do you have in the crock pot right now?
Yeah, we gotta go eat that. We've got it's like a pumpkin cobbler.
That's it.
Cobbler. Yeah.
But doesn't cobbler have to have like fruit pieces in it? Did you chop up apples?
Ooh, no. Well, the pumpkin.
A cobbler, I thought.
Well, I don't know. I've made chicken cobbler before, and there's no that's what it's called, and there's no fruit in that.
That sounds gross.
So
this is a pumpkin cake.
Kind of.
I try to tell these people about eating healthy, and I normally do, but some weekends.
The weekend. We've been working really hard. Today's the first day I haven't worked out in probably 2 weeks. I can't believe it. We were gonna go for a walk, and we didn't.
Life.
We'll get back at it tomorrow.
I'm all right with because we have been hitting it pretty hard lately.
Yeah.
So we needed a little.
So we're gonna have a go eat a piece of pumpkin cobbler.
But even for our wedding and cupcakes and wedding cake and all that, we still killed it, didn't we?
Well,
Saturday
we worked
morning?
out. Oh yeah, I had a really hard
good
workout
one Saturday, right?
Yesterday morning. Yeah.
Do you think people should figure out a way to like do physical fitness with their partners? Like, do you like it or do you hate it when I'm down here with you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I used to want to work out with you because I always thought I wanted a running partner. But when I realized when we did run together, we didn't run together because you run a lot faster than me. And I always got the vibe you much rather work out by yourself. And it doesn't, we do different style
Yeah.
workouts. So I don't like ever want to be in your way because I like to, not for a vain thing, but I do like to work out in front of the mirror. I like to see my form and everything, which is right by his punching bag. So sometimes I feel like I'm in the way. And now that you've gotten me used to using the barbell for some of my moves, I know you use it. So I feel like, no, I love it when we're both down here. I think
I do too.
It's an awesome vibe. I just feel like sometimes I'm in your way because I have the TV on.
No, if I like if I'm gonna get on the bar, I might mention something to you. Like, are you using it today? But generally, if you're down here before me, I can like work around and find something else to do. So like besides hitting the bag, but I'm just like I'm just so proud that you're always down here, and it motivates me so much that I'm like, I would rather her just stay down there. You know what I mean? So I can come over and do something else on the side or make fun of you and the dog and stuff while we're all down here together. So I like it.
I don't mind. Well, and my workout is pretty much always when I get up in the morning. You know,
Yeah, you're a freak.
On weekdays, I get up at 5:30 and I try to get down here by 6. And then on the weekend, you know, it's whenever I wake up. So it's not like usually you work out either in the morning. You know, your mornings are a lot different than mine most of the time. But no, I think it's awesome that we work out together. I love our gym.
I like it.
It's my favorite part of the day usually.
Me too. Then the rest of the day is a little easier.
Yeah.
Once you got the hard work out of the way, it's a little.
And then
easier.
you don't feel as bad about now the pumpkin cobbler thing. Like when the kids are here, they like to have their desserts. I got them some cookies and stuff. They like to make dessert, and like we all in this house have a sweet tooth. But I try not to buy things like that. But like it's fall season, everybody's talking about their pumpkin stuff. We're not going and getting all those pumpkin drinks, and that's a ton of calories that people do. Like we're gonna have a little bit of cobbler, and then the kids are gonna come home and they're probably gonna eat it all tomorrow. So
I might have a lot of cobbler. I'm not sure.
I should go check on it so it doesn't burn.
All right, you get out of here. I'm gonna sign off. Say bye.
Bye. Peace out.
That's the wife, dude. I'm gonna have her on here a lot. And I've thought about it, and we have talked about it a couple of times. Like, hey, you want to go podcast? And she's like, well, about what? And so I just never really, I don't know. I didn't think she would be that into it. It's kind of my little thing that I do, and I just didn't know. But I just mentioned something tonight, just a few minutes ago, like, hey, when are you gonna podcast with me? And she's like, when do you want to do it? And so I'm like, let's just go downstairs and talk for a little while. So I like having her on. She's I'm one of those nerds where she's actually my better half, but that's the way it's got to be. I'm happy it's that way. So, all right, I'm going to go eat some, what did she just say? Oh, pumpkin cobbler. I don't like the word cobbler, so I'm going to call it a cake. But either way, you guys be cool, man. Be nice and be happy, or try your best anyway to be happy and do something nice for somebody, and stay on the straight and narrow, and just, try to do good things, man. That's what we're all trying to do. So keep at it. Appreciate you guys listening and all your comments and likes and downloads and all that. We're taking off slowly but surely, and I'm still learning and going with the flow, but still having fun. So thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.